In life, there's going to be a moment when no matter how many inputs you put in, you're never going to get to the output you want. Okay. And so clearly there's like an energy block. Clearly there's something holding you back, right? And so in this video, I'm going to be going over the limiting beliefs that are potentially holding you back from getting to 5, 6, or even 7-figure monthly margins. Okay. And these are the things I talk about with my guys all the time. But basically what I'll do is I'll give you a new perspective on the things that you already know so that you're able to actually go through, implement these things, or maybe even potentially detach or take them out so you can scale very, very easily. Okay, these are the internal shifts that I'm going to need you to do, and shifts that you're going to need to make to actually get to a certain point. In life, okay, everything is consciousness. Everything in life has a conscious journey, a conscious funnel. We're all living in someone's funnel as we know it. Okay, and so whatever you do, whether it's music, whether it is your product, whether it's consulting, whether it's coaching, whatever you're doing, there always needs to be a conscious ascension occurring within your product and within your funnel. The reason being is you always want to be taking people from where they are in the moment to where they want to be internally. So if people are at like 3 to 12K per month, for example, right, internally, but they want to, obviously, they desire 30K to 100K, 150K months, you need to be able to actually take them there internally. You need to elevate their consciousness to a state of peace, knowing that their product is so fucking good that the market has no choice but to reward them. So there always needs to be some form of conscious ascension occurring, conscious journey. Someone who's done this very, very well, okay, we'll give a music example, is Kanye West. Now, I don't know if you've listened to Kanye West music, right, but a lot of the older albums, but there's always a conscious progression taking place. He's always taking people from a state of low consciousness to a state of high consciousness, right? And he does this through aligning people to God, pushing them away from the devil. Now, the reason why this is so good is because once you take people into this state, people fucking love you, right? Because you've solved the biggest problem that people ever have in their life, which is being retarded, right? People, you'll see this a lot. People on the lower levels of energetic log who are in a state of shame, they will be so focused, their attention will be so centralized towards their anxieties and towards the actual bad things present within their reality that they will not be able to materialize the actual desired quantum output. They will not be able to focus, right? They will not be able to articulate a vision where they can actually see, feel, and hear mentally the thing that they actually want. And so Kanye, right, he's able to take people into this high state. And a lot of people, even if you can relate to his lyrics, you'll see that you'll benefit a lot from it, right? Because you're in this state of genius, right? Where you're aware, you're conscious. And so this allows you to generally do things in life, be successful in certain routes, or, have better relationships, right? Like being in a conscious state, it's not just about business, it's about life in general. Like it's life maxing. And so if you're constantly in a state of shame, you're never going to be able to get to where you want to be in life. And so he solves this problem and people love him, right? And so this is where he's basically able to sell people on anything because he's taking people into this state. And that's why he branched off into Yeezy, made billions of dollars, right? And it's fair game, right? But if we had to relate that to our own product, for example, in Done With You Consulting, or if you have a coaching program or you're doing info biz op or whatever, there always needs to be a conscious progression taking place within your company. So your acquisition funnel needs to elevate, shift beliefs, and elevate people's consciousness. So you actually need to take people from a state of shame to a state of acceptance. Right, and after the sale happens, you need to be able to take them to an enlightened state where they're able to solve problems without you, right? Be able to problem solve and do all the things, right? You change their way of thinking, you change their neural pathways, you change their paradigm so they're able to operate without you and not be dependent on you. And once you take people here and they actually start facing a major bottleneck, right? And then you upsell them at this point, they'll have so much respect for you. Because what you're doing is, even though they're in this insane state, they're in their zone of genius, they're still unable to solve this one specific problem, right? And so this is where you give a helping hand. And so you can see the conscious journey. You can see that, you're preventing them from actually going down in consciousness by actually upselling them. You're solving this problem for them, which they can't solve even though they're in their zone of genius. Okay? And so your authority is going to go up a lot. And if you're able to market these things, you're going to be able to leverage a lot of trust within your industry, especially in a space where maybe reputation is very important. For example, and you can see how, conscious elevation matters in everything, even in relationships, right? Like even when you're talking to a girl, right? You want to get to know her. All of these things are a conscious progression, even in business, helping people in the fulfillment process. This is a conscious elevation and progression and journey taking place. Once you understand this, you're going to be able to formulate a product which is going to take people into this state, get them the best possible results. And you're going to be able to leverage that within your marketing, right? You're going to be able to leverage that for yourself, for example. And you can apply this logic, you can apply this belief, you can apply this system to literally anything in life. Like I just use business as an example, okay? But a lot of people don't understand that there's so much more to life than systems and inputs. Okay? People just give you the inputs, and you're going to see this, as I talked about in the beginning. No matter how much volume you put in, you may not be able to achieve the thing you want in life, no matter how much you do, right? No matter how much volume you put in. And this is because the understanding and the system is broken, right? But once you understand, right, that not everything is about inputs, it's also about the system, right? And the mental understanding and the paradigm and the thing that the system, the shit goes through, that's when you get the output you want. And so if you're able to adjust your thinking, if you're able to adjust your solutions, adjust the way you problem solve, adjust the way you perceive things in real time, even in life, for any situation, right? And understand that it's all a conscious journey, you'll be able to 100x anything, right? Your problem solving is going to go up, your solutions are going to be better, people are going to be more happy, okay? And you're going to naturally magnetize people towards you, especially if you're in that state yourself. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is going to obviously relate a little bit to this, but it's going to be importance, right? And so this is a concept talked about within Reality Transurfing by Vadim Zeland. Now, in the universe, balance can never be broken, no matter what you do. The state of harmony, this has existed for thousands and thousands of years. You have yin and yang harmony. So let me give you an example. A lot of people try to skip balance, but they don't understand that it can never be broken. Let's say there's a man in absolute poverty. Let's say he wins the lottery for $80 million. What's going to happen is the universe is going to look at this. And it's that one of two things can happen. It's either his internal state matches the quantum output, and so there's balance created, or the output, the external, is going to match the internal, right? And he loses all the money, basically, right? So you understand that balance can never be broken. The problem with people, especially in the industry, especially in info, is people have unfortunately pedestalized scaling so much, and they've given it so much excess potential, as it says in the book, right? It's been given way too much importance. People think that scaling is just this glamorous jump that you take from like 20 to 30 to 50K to 100K a month to $500,000 a month to $1 million a month. It's like, what are we talking about here? Like, behind this number, behind this figure, right, there's so much waves and directions of energy just flowing into this number to fuel it, right? Whether it's from other people, whether it's from employees, whether it's from certain systems, whether it's from AI, like there's something fueling this number, right? And there's so much shit happening in the back. There's so much volume. There's so much inputs to even create or even allow this figure to be possible, right? When you see a 100K a month business, people generally, and this is how the mind is wired, right? They will literally just perceive what they see. They'll see the lifestyle. They'll see all this stuff. But you don't ask the question of, are you genuinely willing to be responsible for all the things behind this figure? The employees, the systems, the results, right? Handling the money, right? Are you willing to put your ego aside and be able to invest in yourself at 100K a month to be able to maintain certain things, right? Maybe like your ads aren't really good, and so you invest into like media buyer to handle all the shit for you and someone to handle all the ads. Like there's so much shit happening behind this figure, right? And people just look at it as this shiny object. And I really think this is where language starts to trip us up a bit. And this is really where we need to be careful of how we perceive things, right? And so you don't want to be broadcasting this wave of energy. You don't want to be desperately chasing scale. You want to be looking at your company and creating a system to facilitate scale, right? It's like, I can fucking bring you 5 to 10 new clients every month, paying you minimum 10K. It's not a problem for me. Can you facilitate that? Can you actually handle those clients at scale? And so this is where our focus shifts from acquisition to fulfillment, and whether you're actually able to handle clients at scale, right? If you can't deliver when it matters the most, your reputation is going to take a fat hit, like seriously, a big hit. Especially in an industry like this where reputation is pretty much everything, right? Because we're in an industry where like revenue basically matches your reputation, right? And it's like, if you can't deliver results, you're going to be cooked. And so this is how important the system is. This is how important the back end is. Like, what's happening behind this number, this figure. And so you slowly need to implement every single thing behind this number that you're desperately chasing, right? Because if you don't input these things internally as well as externally, it's never going to come to you. So for example, let's say you're desperately chasing a girl. You really like this girl. You are drop dead in love with this person. You ask for a number, and so what's going to happen is she's going to probably reject you, right? She has a right to do so for whatever reason. If you really like this girl, you keep asking for a number. She says no again, right? And now you're still asking her, and now you're chasing her, and like she's running away from you. It's like the same shit happens with your goal, right? You pedestalize it too much, you give it too much importance, you start chasing it. It's going to run away from you. You're going to look like a creep. Okay. And so you need to understand this and try to reduce the importance you have for certain things. The way we reduce importance is by making that reality a normal thing. So for example, I talk about this a lot in the soul alchemy stuff that I have with the clients, is when you're actually trying to get to a certain goal, you need to wire your consciousness. Your consciousness is made up of your emotions, your identity, and your belief systems. You need to wire these things to actually match the external, to actually support that quantum output, right? And so you're going to wire your internal state to match 30K a month worth of belief systems, a 30K a month identity, a 30K a month, emotional state. And so you really got to think outside the box when you're actually doing this. A lot of people think that when they're doing their visualization, when they're actually looking at this goal, when they're doing all these things, they need to be excited. They need to be super over the top. This is 30K a month, right? Like, I'm living my dream life. This is 100K a month. This is $500,000 a month. It's a very trick question. You need to feel nothing. You need to genuinely feel nothing. And so it's like the 100K a month version of you, 100K a month is normal to him. He's not fucking jumping up and down, going crazy. It's like the same feeling you have right now, like living the life that you're living right now. It's normal to you, right? It's nothing crazy, okay? You're going to be feeling the exact same when you're actually there. Obviously, you're going to be very grateful for it. That's the other question, but that's not the point. The universe is going to actively look and see what energy wave you're broadcasting and how you are energetically and internally, and is going to see if it matches the external. And so, for example, this is, I'm not even going to go crazy on this, but for example, let me show you my bank account. This is the very first day of April. So the first day of Q2, okay? We had a 9.4K pounds sale. So that is 12.4K USD. Now this is obviously decent amount. This is great. This is amazing. But it's like the universe is going to see how I react to this. It's going to see if it's natural to me. And I tell people a lot, like, obviously be grateful for these things, but don't create a reaction to the point where it obviously goes against the reality that you're trying to get into. Because what's going to happen is you're going to show the universe that this thing is not normal to you. It's not something that's part of your reality. And it's going to see that internal state and it's going to give it back to you, right? If you show that these things are normal, you show that these things are just casual things, this is not being arrogant. People don't understand that this is the most cracked manifestation technique ever. You appreciate these things, but you don't let it create any turbulence within your internal reality, your internal state, sorry, right? Like, you just feel normal, okay? You just focus on the inputs. You just move on. And so once you're doing this, the universe is going to give you even more of it because it's something that you're used to. It's something that you naturally magnetize. And so this is the entire way to reduce excess potential. It's by getting into an internal state where that thing that you actually want is so normal to you, it's just part of your reality. And so once it actually comes to you, it's none of the, I made it. It's none of the, I'm where I want to be. It's just a matter of reality just caught up to you. That's it. And so this way, you're not giving anything importance. You're completely grateful. You're in a state of bliss. You thank and appreciate the universe and God, right? But these things are just normal to you. And so once you implement these frames of thought and these trains of thought, right? Like, you start thinking outside the box and start understanding what it means to truly manifest and materialize the things you want, right? Like, the 100K a month version of yourself is not going to be absolutely going ballistic and crazy over like a 20K sale or like a 10K PIF, right? He's not going to be doing that. He's going to be normal, he's going to be zen, and he's going to be constantly improving. He's going to accept his current state, and he's going to be striving to improve even more from that point on, right? And so you need to actually tap into that and understand that and break that down and reverse engineer those traits and implement it into yourself right now. And so once you get onto that frequency, onto that wavelength, it's GG's, right? And so when you are in this state internally where your consciousness is this high and you're operating from that desired version of yourself, it doesn't make anything that you do in the day-to-day feel like a chore. Like, a lot of people don't understand, and they do like 6 to 8 hour work days. They do 6 to 8 hour, maybe even 10 hour work days, right? And they're exhausted because they fucking resent their life. They resent their work. They resent their business. But once you understand and you have complete conviction in the fact that everything that you're doing in the day-to-day is leading to reality, catching up to that desired state that you are already in internally, you're going to be completely fine. Okay, you're going to enjoy the work. You're going to enjoy the process because that delusion, that image that you have in your mind, which your brain has articulated, is aligned with your heart, right? Your heart is in a state of stillness. You will never, ever, okay, be able to achieve or exceed your internal state, ever. We talked about the equilibrium example. Super crucial to understand, right? And so when your heart and mind are not aligned, you're going to run into a lot of problems. And I'm going to just give you a basic example before I close this video off. If in your mind, you have the vision of achieving $100,000 a month. Let's say you're at 20K a month, but in your heart, you genuinely feel anxiety. Your body and your intuition is rejecting your vision. Will you actually get there? The answer is obviously no, right? It's not going to happen. We talked about equilibrium. Even if you manage to temporarily tap into that high frequency state and you do manage to get it, if you internally don't match it, you're going to lose it all. This is just how it is. You need to accept it and be able to be on such a zone, in such a zone of genius, where these things are so normal to you that reality will just give it to you. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, just send me a DM on IG or just post a comment. I'll make a video on it. Okay? I'll see you in the next video.